What's up, you guys? Today we are talking about Fierce firearms. I own two of them. This is the Fierce Edge and this is the Fierce CT Rival. So we're going to talk about the difference between these two as well as the Fury. So first, real quick, to understand the differences between these three, because looking at their website, I could not even figure out the difference between them or all the differences. Okay, so first is the Fury. It's their lower level gun. The Fury is exactly identical in every way to the Edge, except the Edge adds a fluted barrel and comes with a proof target, a target showing the group. They both have the same accuracy guarantee, but this one comes with the target. So it's a very tiny difference between the two, and you're looking at a significant step up in the price. So honestly, in my opinion, I don't know if I would ever buy an Edge, because you could just buy a Fury and then have a gunsmith flute the barrel for, what, $100? And you're off to the races. So anyway, there's very little difference between the two. Both the Edge and the Fury are both made in their Canada facility there. The Rival, however, is made in Utah. So let's dig into the Rival. The Rival, compared to the Edge and Fury, first of all, there's quite a difference in, let's see if I can hold them next to each other. There's quite a difference in the stock design here. The Rival has a much more modern stock geometry for long-range shooting. It's kind of set up that way, whereas the Edge is a more traditional stock design. So for me personally, I much prefer the stock on the Rival. It's perfect. It gives you a nice big grip here. It has a more straight grip here for getting a good purchase on the rifle and a good angle on there. The other thing that I will note is on the Rival, you're going to get a nice solid cheek weld. On the Edge, it's really close. So on my Edge, I have this scoped, and it's an appropriate amount of space here. I could go a couple millimeters lower, but not much. That's basically as low as you're going to want. I could just lower it a couple millimeters, and I can't quite get a perfect cheek weld on this rifle. This is a Leupold VX6 HD 3-18x44, and I'm just on here. I can't quite see, and I've just got to hover up just 3 or 4 millimeters. They do have this raised piece on a Monte Carlo style, but it has such a negative comb here that you lose a little bit of the cheek weld. I wish this angle were just bumped up a little bit, but it is very close. It's just a little low for me personally. Other than that, I do like the stock on the Edge. I do just wish I had just a tiny bit higher of a comb. So accuracy, all Fierce guns shoot really well. They are very accurate. You'll get the target when you purchase it, depending on which model you get. I've just never had any accuracy problems. I think it's safe to say with the right ammo and stuff, you're going to be half MOA, maybe 3/4 MOA, getting the right ammo. So I'm very happy with it. It's equal to really everything in this premium category is kind of shooting there. And I don't think there's an exception. I think it's shooting very, very well. Also, cycling on the Edge has been perfect, no issues at all. And the action is just great. It's butter. So let's talk about that. So the Edge uses the Edge and Fury both use a 3-lug bolt. That's the Edge, and the Fury uses a 3-lug bolt, whereas the Rival is a 2-lug bolt. It's a Remington 700 clone action. And that's the trouble that I'm having right now with Fierce is I do prefer the action in the Edge and the Fury, that is their 3-lug bolt. It's more of a Socko style action. Whereas the rival, the only way to get it is the Remington 700 action, which does make it compatible, with triggers and things like that. But it's just a little sticky. It seems to be getting better as I use it, but it definitely sticks. And there have been some times when I've been shooting where, you're trying to run it. Oh, well, there's one right there where it just, and you got to kind of shake it. Whoops, excuse me. Didn't quite get it in there. There we go. Other times, it runs great. But every once in a while, if you're just slightly off center, it's going to kind of stick. And so I don't love that. That's probably my biggest complaint about the rival, is that action is just not quite super smooth. And so I don't love that, but it's not that it isn't smooth. It does feel smooth. It's just every once in a while, if you're not straight on, because it's a 2-lug action, it's just going to get slightly canted and you're not getting it straight. I have felt 2-lug actions, though, that are better than this. Okay, now we got to talk about one more thing with Fierce. Just when you're talking about your purchase decision, there's an expensive, these are expensive guns. You can't expect perfect fit and finish with Fierce. They definitely leave construction dust in a lot of the things that they do. And so you'll see it everywhere. You'll see I hope this will show on camera okay. If you can see here, let me turn the light. I think it's important for you to see this. Let's see if we can get a good angle on it. Okay, yeah, can you see how the paint's just kind of glopped on there? It's just not very precise. Maybe it looks a little bit worse in person than it does on camera, but it just kind of, a couple things are glopped on. When you take off the action, you'll see the inletting's just really, it's just not precise. It's not done, pristine. I noticed there's just a little chip in the carbon fiber right here. And this is a brand new gun. I haven't even shot this one yet. Haven't even shot the rival. I've been shooting the Edge for a couple years now, but the rival's brand new. And so little things like that, you're going to find everywhere. Now there's another place where I want to talk about just kind of construction dust, I guess, is what I think of with the company. So if I look at the website, when I was purchasing this gun, it says that the Fierce CT Rival is between 5.8 and 6.2 pounds. And I ordered it here in 6.5 PRC. And so I say, okay, well, if the CT Rival is between 5.8 and 6.2 pounds, first I called in and he said, yeah, 6.5 PRC is definitely going to be on the lighter end of that because it is only using the 24-inch barrel. Some of these are 26. It's a smaller diameter, just 6.5, compared to some of these, it's like a 300 rum and a 26-inch. That's going to add quite a bit of weight to it. And so, between that 5.8 and 6.2, you're going to be on the lighter end. And it's not actually true. So I actually weighed it. Let me pull out it was 6 pounds, 4 1/8 ounces. And again, the 6.5 PRC should be on the lightest end of this scale. So I've got to think some of these are actually closer to 6.5 pounds. And so I don't like that. I don't like when, you're buying, you see what they have to offer, and it actually wasn't quite true exactly how they had said it would be. And then I pull the rifle out. It says on the website right here that it comes with Bix & Andy's Dakota trigger. But I pull it out and immediately I recognize, wait, that's a Trigger Tech trigger. And it's a Trigger Tech primary trigger. It's not the trigger that the website says it is. And so things like that are really frustrating from a buyer, especially of a really premium rifle where actually you do care which model of trigger you're getting. Actually, you do care about the little fit and finish things. You do care about a bolt that's a little bit sticky. And so all those things are minor. I mean, if we're talking about a Mossberg Patriot, I'd be complaining about it, shoots groups like this, right? Much, much, much bigger things. These guns are accurate and light and they look cool. I mean, I have invested over four grand into Fierce guns now. Obviously, I'm a fan of them. But those little things that they kind of leave undone are frustrating when you're purchasing in the premium price point. Okay, so now it's decision time. Do you pick the Edge or Fury? Do you pick the Rival? Or do you pick something from another company? So, obviously this is a lot of personal preference, but I'll tell you how I think about it. If price is an issue and you're going with the Fierce, I'd probably get the Fierce Fury and I'd just get the barrel fluted myself to save the money, right? I mean, it's only 0.1 ounces we're talking. Maybe don't even flute it. It's just not that big of a deal. I'd just get the Fury to save the money between the Fury and the Edge. Now, between the Fury/Edge and the Rival, boy, I lean toward the Rival. I think the Rival is, the stock geometry matters so much when you're shooting. I mean, it's a very big deal. And boy, it has all the modern lines. It has, your integrated Picatinny rail up in front, your vertical grip, your nice high comb. I would prefer to shoot that gun just because of the stock. I do prefer the action on the Edge and the Fury a little bit more, but it's just a little stick, and I think maybe if I run it wet and get it broken in, it's going to be fine. So that's kind of my opinion between these two. But then there's the other question, is a Fierce gun worth it? Or should you go with something from another company? So I'm really, the thing that gives me pause here is not between Fierce and Christensen. I think Fierce makes a better rifle than Christensen in general. Christensen is mostly using some older lines, like on the Ridge line. They have the MPR, which is cool, but it's just a tiny bit heavy for hunting. But amazing gun. I would like to shoot an MPR more. But the problem with Christensen is the quality. Sometimes they shoot, sometimes they don't shoot. And I've heard people who love their Christensen and people that really don't like their Christensen. Fierce, I haven't heard any nightmares. Everybody seems to get good accuracy results from Fierce. And so in terms of that comparison between the Fierce and Christensen, I'm going Fierce for sure. But what about the Springfield 2020 Waypoint? I don't own one right now, but I did buy one and shot it for a couple months to review it on the main Backfire channel. The Springfield 2020 Waypoint's an amazing gun. Depending on which model and stuff you choose, the 2020 Waypoint is going to be cheaper. I would get the 2020 Waypoint without the adjustable stock. The comb is high enough on the non-adjustable stock, you're going to have no problem getting a cheek weld and you're saving a few ounces. That's my opinion. Now, I definitely wouldn't get the adjustable stock. Now, if you get the 2020 Waypoint with the carbon fiber barrel, you're still less than a Fierce. The action is smooth, the fit and finish is perfect. I was shooting half MOA groups, no problem with the Springfield 2020 Waypoint using Hornady Precision Hunter ELDX ammo. That is an amazing gun. So the problem with the 2020 Waypoint is, compared to the CT rival, this one, the carbon and titanium, the 2020 Waypoint is going to be about 5 ounces heavier than this. It's only 5 ounces, not a big deal, right? If you're going for counting every ounce, then maybe that matters. It did enough for me, but it's only 5 ounces difference between them. And you're going to get an excellent stock, you're going to get excellent accuracy, and you're going to save some money. The problem with the Springfield 2020 Waypoint is they're not really offering it in many cartridges. Hopefully in the future, maybe if you're watching this for a year from now, it'll be different. But right now, it's pretty much 6.5 Creedmoor. I've seen one 6.5 PRC in the wild and 308. That's kind of all they're doing right now. When they open that up to shooting more cartridges, then I would lean toward the 2020 Waypoint. For me, I decided to go with the Fierce Rival on this. because I wanted to save a little bit of weight. I do just really like Fierce. I did really like that they have the integrated Picatinny rail, whereas the 2020 Waypoint has M-LOK here, so you can attach stuff, which is pretty good, but it means your pick rail is going to poke out a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter that much. I do like that Fierce uses limb saver recoil pads. That seems like a small thing. It really isn't. If you've felt the difference between most factory butt pads and specifically limb saver, I've tried all the different companies, and limb saver, they're just squishy, just the perfect amount of squishy. And it makes a big difference when I shoot that Fierce Edge and 7 mag. Man, it is mild. It just doesn't, it's fine. It's totally fine. And so if you're shooting this in a heavy cartridge, I think this is a very good rifle for it. So I guess that's it. I love Fierce. I do not like that they weren't totally honest on the weight, or at least not accurate. And they told me I was going to get a different brand trigger that I ended up getting in the gun. I don't like things like that. It kind of bothers me as a consumer. I want to know, you're going to give me exactly what you told me you were going to give. But that's not to say that I'm unhappy with the Trigger Tech primary trigger. It's a really good trigger. I just like to know what to expect on this. And a couple fit and finish things. So for me, I did choose the CT Rival. We're going to see how it shoots, but I am very, very happy with this gun. If you're shooting 6.5 PRC or 6.5 Creedmoor though, I don't know. That Springfield 2020 Waypoint's a good gun. I don't know how to choose between them. It's kind of, they're both very, very good guns. I've had them both, like them both. So anyway, those are my opinions. I hope I wasn't too tough on Fierce here. I've spent $4,000 on guns from Fierce for a reason. I really like their guns. They all shoot really well. You're not going to be unhappy with them. I just wanted to tell you about the little things that you may find along the way. And so you can expect them. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.